from my new Beaumont, Texas apartment. I'm very happy. This is the first time I've lived by myself in 7 years.
He's a Cowboys fan now.
Oh God, no.
Is it Cowboys or Saints fans there?
Or
you're probably closer to Houston, actually.
Yeah, I'm definitely closer to Houston than I am New Orleans.
But not that there's a lot of Texans fans, but
there's a good bit. I would probably lean Texans right now. Haven't seen very many Saints fans.
Yeah.
Then probably obviously Cowboys.
Yeah.
But that's everywhere. Yeah, I've seen quite a few Texans logos so far in the week and a half almost I've been here. So what's going on with you?
Not much, man. Working my fingers to the bone as usual,
So this is probably our new setup because with the time difference, I don't think we're gonna do car, which I wasn't crazy about the car podcast.
Honestly, I wasn't either. It was just pretty much the only time I had a free fucking. As you can see, I mean, it's 8:00, and this is basically the first time I get to sit down and do anything. So
right. All right, let's get started. We're gonna do some draft stuff with the draft being on Thursday. We will be doing over/under predictions for positions taken in the first round. Then we will be doing our own mock draft where we will bounce off each other. I think last year we did like pick by pick for both of us, and that's just not nearly as cool.
No, I agree. I agree.
So yeah, I'll do my own mock draft and I'll post it on my blog. I need to get started on it actually. And I'll post that later in the week, but it will be separate to this. Let's go ahead and get started with these position totals. Let's start things off with quarterback here. I sent this to you earlier. This is from Vegas Insider. Quarterbacks right now sit at 5.5. Oddly enough, I said this to my friend William. Oddly enough, I would take the under here. I would never say under for a quarterback, but 5.5 is just too high. There's only 5 dudes who are going in the first round this year.
Me neither, and the reason I say that is usually there's like a late first round prospect that I think somebody might trade back up into, but I don't think anybody's worth trading back into the first round. I mean, who's the 6th quarterback? Kellen Mond or?
And I like Kellen Mond. I just don't think he's a first rounder. Yeah.
I mean, believe me, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if I don't think this will happen, but if the Bucks were like, all right, we're going to get a quarterback to sit behind Tom Brady the next 2 years, and we think Kellen Mond has the role, something like that. But I just don't see it. I'm actually going to go under there too, and I agree. Yeah. I would normally never say that.
Yeah, and like you said, last year was a bit of an exception. No one really thought Jordan Love would fall to 26. No. I certainly didn't. I thought he'd be gone by 20.
I didn't either. I didn't either.
And then, the year before, I don't think there was one. I think Dwayne Haskins was the last one. The last time there really was a quarterback drafted that late, I think, was probably Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Well, Jordan Love last year, too. But
yeah.
Running backs is at 0.5. I'm not super confident in it like I am quarterbacks, but I feel like the over. Yeah, I would take the over here. I wouldn't be shocked if both Etienne and Harris sneak in the first round. I think it's for sure going to be Harris, though.
I think the Jets are going to take Etienne second round, personally.
I know the Jets. I've heard the Jets are targeting running back. I want the Jets to be successful. They're like my new Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, same.
And I'm not against taking a running back, but wait till the second round. Don't do it in the first round. You're rebuilding your roster. Don't use a pick on the first round on a running back.
I agree, my friend.
Receivers at 4.5. This is tough because I think there are four for sure receivers going in the first round. The 2 Alabama guys, Waddle, Devontae Smith, and Jamar Chase, obviously. And then I think Rashad Bateman are the 4 guys who are going in the first round. Then it kind of drops.
I'm going over.
Yeah, I will go over 2. I do believe at least one of the guys like Rondale Moore, Elijah Moore, who's the other guy? Kadarius Toney.
Or Terrace Marshall.
Yeah.
Somebody very late is going to take one.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers took one. I don't think so. Obviously, you would know that. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they took, an Elijah Moore if they had him,
They need a guy like that more, in my opinion, right now. They need a gadget guy. I'd love Rondale Moore. If that's the pick, I'd love it.
Same. I don't. I think he's more of like a second or third rounder just based on size, but he is going to be good in the NFL. I think he's going to be a Tavon Austin that actually works out. Basically.
We can get into him a little bit later, but I get strong John Ross vibes from him. Not that I think he's the same player at all, because I think he's completely different. John Ross really was more of a deep threat. Like, that's all he could do, and it's been proven in the NFL. Rondale Moore, though, just put the ball in his hands. That's not really the type of player John Ross was.
No, not at all.
But I struggled to find a spot for him in the first round. I finally put him in the first round, John Ross, just because of his speed.
Okay.
But I put him at like 32, and he was drafted in the top 10.
I think he was like 9th or something.
I get the same kind of feeling with Rondale Moore. Someone's going to take him in the first round, I think, just because of his speed. And he can do more than John Ross could. Tight ends 1.5. I'm very confident in this. I'd hit the under. Yeah. I almost said over. I almost misspoke.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was no tight ends taken first round.
Well, Kyle Pitts is one.
Never. Okay.
Technically, yeah, because I said the same thing. When my friend sent me that, I was like, "Is there even going to be a tight end drafted in the first round?" He said, "Bro, Kyle Pitts."
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, the only other one I think is like Pat Freiermuth. I think Freiermuth is from Penn State, but I don't think he's a first rounder.
No, not at all.
Linebacker. This is an awfully high number at 4.5.
There's some good linebackers.
I don't know. Well, I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't know who they're counting as a line. This is when we get into these position labels. Outside linebacker, but they're technically an edge rusher.
Yeah. I think that's
defensive ends, but they're technically a defensive tackle in a 3-4. I hate that. Just call him an edge rusher. Call him an interior defensive tackle.
I'm glad that they started doing that.
Yeah.
They started saying edge. I really am. But now I agree. Now, if we're going
just off the ball linebacker, I think the under is in play.
I'll take the under, but with it, I would say probably the over. But let's just assume it's off ball linebackers, and I'll go under.
Yeah, I see Micah Parsons.
The Notre Dame guy, the hyphenated last
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Zaven Collins, Jamin Davis. I think those are the four. I mean, Nick Bolton's kind of there, but I don't think so.
I don't even think all of them are the first four you named are even all going to go first round.
I think three of them will.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Koramoah. He's awfully tiny.
Yeah. Like,
he's just not very big. Offensive lineman right now at 6.5.
Is that interior and tackles?
It doesn't say. I'm just going to say all offensive linemen.
Over.
Yeah,
there's a lot of tackles.
I know. I heard John Middlecoff say there's probably going to be only 4, and I said... And I get it. Outside of Slater, Sewell, Darisaw, maybe Mayfield, it kind of drops a little bit.
Yeah, but it's the positional value more than anything.
I think someone's going to take like Samuel Cosmi in the first round, the tackle from Texas, or Dylan Reduns, who I'm higher on than most, from North Dakota State. I think someone's going to scoop them up. Then you factor in maybe Landon Dickinson, the center from Alabama, and then Elijah Vera-Tucker, the interior offensive lineman from USC.
He's going first round.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
I think 7 is very much in play. But I wouldn't be really shocked if it's the under. Defensive lineman over 4.5.
I'm going under.
Again, this is a weird year. Usually I would say over, but this is not a great defensive line class.
No, it's not. Even, and the reason I say that is Barrymore, who is like a top.
Is that how you pronounce his name? I thought it was just Barmore.
Okay. You're probably right. I heard he's like a top 10 talent.
Yeah.
Apparently, has very bad coaching issues, and apparently that's gonna push him down pretty far.
I don't Green Bay does this thing where they have every day leading up to the draft, kind of they have a prospect spotlight, whatever, and he was on there. And I'm not trying to stand on a podium here and say Green Bay only takes good character people, but clearly they must be somewhat high on him if they're doing some sort of a spotlight on him.
And in his defense,
and Green Bay doesn't really deal with troublemakers, you know what I mean?
I was gonna say it's not off the field issues.
Oh,
or
okay.
Like that. Just apparently he doesn't take the coaching. He kind of is like a freelancer out there, and you can't do that interior O line, dude. You'll get gashed for 15-yard runs all day if you're just trying to make plays every time instead of staying in your gaps and things like that.
Right.
So that's more of what it is. But that's fixable. I get you in.
I think he's the only interior defensive lineman going in the first round.
Agreed, which is insane.
I know.
This is a weird ass draft, dude.
Under for quarterbacks, under for defensive linemen, but over for offensive linemen so far is what we have. Just weird. But we're talking, I think they're factoring in edge rushers here. And if that's the case, I still probably go under because I think there's only going to be 3 edge rushers right now taken in the first round.
I think there's a lot of good edge rushers, no great, right? But like Kwity Paye, Jalen Phillips, Greg Rousseau.
Jalen Phillips, from what I've heard,
is a beast.
If he's healthy, watch out. Like I think someone could get a steal with him.
Agreed. I heard the same thing. Apparently, he has like a bag of pass rushing moves that are all like pretty developed already. So.
Like he was on par with like Myles Garrett coming into college and had like a boatload of injuries. I think retired at one point. Then came back, just a crazy backstory.
That's just not a position. I mean, going up against tackles every weekend, I don't like his chances of staying healthy, man.
Well, but if I'm like picking in the 20s, like if Green Bay, if my team's sitting there at 29 and picks him, I'll be like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah. I mean, dude, even if he's, even if he gets hurt a couple times a year and you can still get 10 sacks out of him, that's worth it picking the 20s to me.
But yeah, I think only 3. Then there are a few guys that I think that are raw and have some upside. Like I think of like Jason Owe, who's the edge rusher from Penn State. Had almost 4.340, explosive, but no production out of high school or out of college. Just weird.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll go first round, but might be worth taking a shot on.
What I heard about him, because I just keep listening to all like these draft. Obviously I'm not studying film or anything, but apparently he's like elite at stopping the run. He's just not great at getting to the quarterback. Brandon Graham, basically. So.
Hey, I mean, there's a spot for dudes like that. Like, I think ideally, you want both guys to rush the passer pretty well. But if you have one dude who rushes the passer really well and the other dude who can stop the run, that's not the worst thing in the world. And, like, maybe one dude is okay at stopping the run, the other dude is okay at rushing the passer, you know what I mean? And they can offset that a little bit.
Agreed.
Cornerbacks over 4.5. A week ago, I would have said over. I'm not so sure anymore.
Dude, this is a fucking loaded cornerback class, dude. Loaded.
I've heard it's not loaded with like all-star talent. The guys in the first round are going to be really good, I think. It kind of drops off, but even in the second, third round, I've heard I think you could still get some above-average players, corners. That is.
I'm going over there. You said 3.5.
4. No, 3.5. I would say over. I'm not so sure Caleb Farley is getting past or going to be taken in the first round.
I'll go over still.
I'll go over too.
20s, man, when it's like cornerback or linebacker. Like I think those teams are going to end up going, okay, I'm going to go corner because
right now it looks like Vegas says the under is the favorite right now for corners at -121. Over is -104. So I mean it's very close. The other one is offensive line. Offensive line is -112 either way. So those are the 2 positions that everyone thinks will be close.
It's about a push, yeah.
Yeah. I think someone's going to take a shot on Caleb Farley in the first round.
I
would, yeah.
This guy right here would. Apparently he is like significantly better than Surtain and
I just think of a team like Green Bay or even New Orleans, but I know Green Bay better. But that you already have Jair Alexander. You have Kevin King, who has, say what you want about him, has been above average at times. So, pretend you take Farley and he doesn't work out. You still know what you have in Kevin King. You know what I mean?
Dude, I think a team that is already stacked that can, take it is like the Bills. Yeah. I think the Bills at the end of the first round could take a shot on Farley.
I think Asante Samuel Jr. is going to sneak in for whatever reason. I think someone's going to scoop him
then
up.
You got to go over then.
No, I said over. I changed my mind.
Okay.
I mean, those are the 5. I don't think another one's going to sneak in outside those 5 that we mentioned. Surtain, Farley, Newsome, Horn, and Samuel.
Yep.
Safeties at 0.5. This is close for me. I'm going to take the over, though.
So am I. I think
0.5 is just gimme. I feel like
Moehrig is going to get taken from TCU, and that's all. Again, later in the. It's funny because I went over on almost all of these, and obviously that can't happen. But
there are a lot of teams later in the order have needs in the secondary.
Yep.
Maybe not Baltimore, but Green Bay, New Orleans, maybe. Baltimore, New Orleans, Green Bay, Buffalo. I would say Kansas City, but they don't have a first-round pick anymore.
Baltimore's a cutout team. I could see them taking it with that 31st pick.
Cleveland was another one.
Yeah. Nah, didn't they? They got John Johnson, though. They still need a safety?
Probably not, but I just meant secondary more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could do total offensive players or total defensive players. I just more wanted to do the positions, but
I don't even know how I would figure that out.
Yeah,
to be honest.
let's just stick with that. So we're gonna start our mock draft now, and we're gonna do it a little differently. So we're going to go me first. I'm gonna give 2 mocks, and then you're gonna do 2, and we're gonna keep going that way so that we don't get to do our team's pick. So we're also going to start at the 3rd pick because we know likely who 1 and 2 are going to be.
I mean, we know number 1, and I think two hasn't really wavered for like 3 months now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, let's just get it out in the open. We think, we think Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson are going 1 and 2. So let's just, that'll be our combined picks there.
Yeah. So number 3, this has been a topic. I got to make this pick, and I'm really not prepared to do it.
I know who they're picking.
So this is a huge topic of conversation. San Francisco 49ers. We know they're taking a quarterback. I'll be shocked, like the most shocked I've ever been if they don't.
I mean,
but the hype the last few weeks has been Mac Jones to the 49ers. And I just have a hard time believing that. We've said it so many times, but I thought about it a lot today. James, since this regime has taken over in San Francisco with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, there has been almost no leaks through the draft process. Everyone thought, maybe not 2017, but 2018, everyone thought they were going to take a receiver in the top 10. They took an offensive tackle. 2019 was different because they took Nick Bosa. They already had their guy, they thought, in Jimmy Garoppolo. So they were going to take best player available at number 2. Nick Bosa just fell in their lap.
Great pick, anyways.
Yeah. 2020, everyone kind of thought, again, they'd take a receiver at whatever pick they had in the top 15 because they traded DeForest Buckner to Indianapolis.
Yep.
I think it was 14. They might have traded up, though, or traded back. I don't remember.
No, I got that pick right. I knew I didn't know, but I had a good – they picked Kinlaw, right?
Yeah. And I thought that was in the mix. I did think he was in the mix.
Because they got rid of Buckner.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said that.
But everyone thought it was going to be like CeeDee Lamb. I might have mocked CeeDee Lamb to San Francisco. Ended up being Javon Kinlaw. Yep. So they've done a pretty good job of keeping what they're going to do under wraps. I think even a little bit with Solomon Thomas in 2017. We all kind of predicted that, but at least for me, in the back of my mind, I was like, they could use a quarterback. They could go quarterback. And then that was the draft where we were at, where they traded back from 2 to 3 with Chicago, flip picks, and then picked Solomon Thomas at number 3. I just have a hard time believing, James, that this, I don't mean to ramble on forever, but that this pick's going to be Mac Jones. For a number of reasons, but for the reasons that I just gave.
Goose egg.
You mean to tell me that this organization that has had almost no leaks the last 4 years is leaking out right now? It's going to be Mac Jones. I don't believe it. I think it's going to come down to Fields or Lance. I'm going to lean Trey Lance. I've said since last year, and I know you're going to write Justin Fields.
No, well, yes. That's my pick. I'm snatching.
You're crossing them off?
Yeah,
okay.
They're picking Justin Fields. Telling you right now.
I want to hear your reasoning for this, because you might talk me into it.
Because I'm sitting here, I think Trey Lance could be better than Justin Fields.
Oh, I agree.
But it's an unknown. I don't understand. I feel as though they're trying to – well, obviously the smoke screen with Mac Jones and everything like that, but I feel like they're trying to almost kind of devalue Justin Fields. What's wrong with Justin Fields? Obviously the epilepsy thing came out, which is I think the biggest deal of all, but they're saying that he can't go through reads, which I think is BS.
Look, that can be corrected. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I can be like, look, I'll teach him that. You know,
I don't. He's the best quarterback besides Trevor Lawrence. I think he's better than.
I've thought this all week. Like it's only Tuesday when we're recording this, but I'm like, he checks all the boxes. He's big. He's athletic. He's got a big arm. He can't see the field very well right now, but get him with Kyle Shanahan, who I think could mold him easily. I don't see it either, James. I really don't. We're picking on him for no reason.
Issues or anything. Apparently, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Now, if they went up there and said Trey Lance, wouldn't surprise me at all. I'd say it's probably 70-30 Fields Lance right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Trey Lance. I've said since last year Lance was gonna be picked before Justin Fields. I might as well stick with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Trey Lance here. And I saw a report, again, though, I'm going against my own advice, or my own point from a minute ago. They said, the 49ers said they were down to Lance and Jones.
Yeah.
I just still don't believe Mac Jones. I'm leaning Trey Lance right now, but I don't feel good about it at all, obviously. So moving on, we're going to go to the number 4 overall pick. Assuming Atlanta keeps this pick.
Yeah.
It's not what I would.
Have to assume this.
Yeah, it's not what I would do, but they're gonna go Kyle Pitts, I think.
Yep.
If it were me, I'd go Sewell or Slater, but that's
Good
another
pick,
conversation.
Buddy. Good pick, buddy. All right, my pick.
Yeah, yours.
The Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock, and is this what we think is going to happen, or what we would do?
Mine is usually kind of a mix. I lean more what I think the team will do.
At the end of the day, I think the Bengals are stupid enough to go Jamar Chase.
I do too.
But I really think they're scared to death that, I mean, dude, Joe Burrow isn't even going to be 100% next year. They're going to go Penei Sewell.
I don't know what Cincinnati's going to do. Like, that's an organization. Like, I want to wring their neck. Like, if you go Jamar Chase, look, Jamar Chase is a great player. He's going to be a great player.
Yes.
But Joe Burrow, I think, can make anyone look good. You can find someone in the second round, maybe Terrace Marshall. Is it Terrence or Terrace Marshall?
Terrence.
Is it Terrence? Terrence Marshall in the second round, who's
good.
Not as good as Jamar Chase, but still good. And then get Sewell or Slater at 5, and then you but you beefed up your O-line to protect Burrow a little bit. That's another argument, though. I'm a big ball from the ball out guy. I hope Cincy does it, just because I don't want to see Joe Burrow become the next Andrew Luck, and I'm worried it's going to happen.
Me neither, man. I really don't. I'm going to be very upset. And those are my picks.
No, you got one more. You got 5 and 6.
Hold on. Sorry. For the Dolphins, I'm going to take Jamar Chase. My bad.
Yeah.
They need. I wouldn't say they need a wide receiver, but this is BPA. They could definitely use a wide receiver, and they're obviously going to try to see what they can get out of Tua. And you need to.
I saw a report after they. I don't know if they've officially traded Eric Flowers, but did they? Sounds like they're in the market for one of these tackles, and I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, that's a very interesting.
Nope, wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah.
And I think Brian Flores is actually very logical in that sense. And like I said, they don't have a terrible receiving core. They have Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and forget who their third receiver is, but he's not terrible either. But yeah,
they used to have Jakeem Grant, who was, all right.
It's basically it's not a need, but I do think Jamar Chase is there, and it's like just help Tua out, man. Devontae Parker has a 2, or I mean he'd probably be a 1.
Yeah, Devontae Parker is really not a 1.
I think he's a
solid
very
option
solid 1. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna go Jamar Chase.
It's not what I would do, but I wouldn't hate it. I mean, same with Cincinnati. I wouldn't hate it, but it's just not what I would do.
Yeah.
All right, so 7 is the Detroit Lions. So we still got. So you took. No, you did. Justin Fields is still technically on the board here.
Yes.
I'm not going to do it. I think the Lions really are, and I've thought this for a long time. I just don't know who they're going to take here.
Yeah.
At 7.
They could take literally, and I mean literally, any position. Literally.
Yeah.
Including quarterback.
I really don't know what they're going to do. I will say, and it really throws a wrench in kind of the draft here, but because it just works perfectly if they take a quarterback or someone or like Jalen Waddle, but I'm not sure Jalen Waddle's going to go in the top 10. It just kind of works perfectly. Everyone in the top 10 kind of gets their biggest need.
Yep.
But that never happens. So Detroit, I do think they are set with Jared Goff right now. They're not going to take one of these quarterbacks. So I think this is where Rashawn Slater comes off the board.
That's a good pick.
I'm not crazy about it, but they already have Taylor Decker at right or left tackle. Right tackle's kind of a revolving door. He'd be able to either fix that or you slide him inside, and they do kind of need help on that O-line.
Good pick.
So now we're at number 8, Carolina Panthers on the clock. And this is what I mean. I wanted to put Slater at Carolina just because it would be pretty, just be better. But,
the draft never ends up pretty.
I know. So, unpopular opinion, we've had this talk. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Do it. Because that's who they're going to pick if he's there. Do it.
Yeah, all right. Fuck it. All right, so yeah, I think it's going to be Justin Fields.
It is.
David Tepper, I really like David Tepper as an owner.
Agreed.
He has been adamant about getting a star quarterback.
Yes.
And he tried to get Carson Wentz, allegedly. I wasn't sure about that. That sounds like he did. He tried to get Deshaun Watson. He got Sam Darnold instead. I wouldn't call him a star at all, but he could be. What better way to improve your chances of having a star quarterback than having Sam Darnold, the former number 3 overall pick, and Justin Fields? Arguably the second best quarterback in this draft. Really improves your odds of having a great quarterback. I don't get why more teams don't do that. Like, just double down.
I completely agree. Man, listen, let him compete this first year.
Yeah.
Hopefully Sam Darnold beats him.
Same with the 49ers. Like, I know you're kind of sick of Garoppolo, but have him and Lance or Fields or whoever compete.
This is the ideal situation.
And I know you don't want to pay him all that money to sit the bench, but still, like, you're not. It's not like you're paying the guy you drafted at 3 a ton of money.
Exactly. It all sets. But this is the ideal situation. Sam Darnold beats him out barely in camp. He looks really good. Sam Darnold has a above average season, let's say 25 touchdowns, 12 picks.
Yeah. And
then you trade him again for what you traded him for, and then you recoup all that. You let Fields sit for a year, and then Fields comes in next year and absolutely kills it. And I think that offense will be very good.
I'll tell you, I don't think Jalen Waddle's out. I almost went Waddle at 8. I don't think he's out of the cards. Those 2 tackles are off the board. Pretend, I think Middlecoff said this, pretend Fields is off the board, or you like the first 4 picks are quarterbacks, and then you're left with like Mac Jones or someone at 8. It'll be Waddle in that instance, I think. But your turn now, 9 and 10.
Oof, you really threw me for a loop there, buddy. I do not think they're going to take Mac Jones.
Really?
I just don't think that's... I just think that's another, like, we're just going to go swing because we need...
Because I heard Chris Sims talk about that, and I kind of agreed. Fangio's out for his job right now.
Yeah, I don't see it, even though it could happen. Obviously, I don't think it will. If anything, I think the Pats trade up into the top 10 and get him. But if we're keeping where we're at, it looks like one of their biggest needs is, a lot of their biggest needs are on defense, and... I'm going to go Surtain.
I don't hate that.
I don't like it.
No, that makes a ton of sense. They need corners. They only signed Kyle Fuller to a 1-year deal.
I really don't like it at all, but I'm going to go Surtain. And then we got Dallas, who really wanted Surtain. Really, really badly.
I'm curious to see who you got here.
Also wanted Rashawn Slater really bad.
Yeah.
I think they have to go J.C. Horn.
That's who I was... thinking. I think he is a dark horse to sneak into the top 10.
Yep.
And, yeah.
J.C. Horn's not making it.
If he's the first corner off the board, I wouldn't be shocked.
Wouldn't be surprised either. It depends on what you ask your corners to do. Yeah. But yeah, I think every mock draft I've seen, I'm not even exaggerating, every single one has Surtain to the Cowboys, but he's obviously not there, so I'm going to go a little cornerback run there and say Surtain and Horn.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, and I did for a few weeks, have like Horn going to 16. The closer we get to this thing, he ain't going to be there at 16.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think he gets past
I don't think he gets past 13, the Chargers.
I was just about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles took him. Or
Chargers are a very underrated need for them after losing Casey Hayward, and I think Jason Verrett in the last 2 or 3 off seasons is a corner.
Yep.
So now it's my turn at 11. This is easy. These 2 picks are easy. The Giants are on the clock. They have made it a priority this offseason to get playmakers around Daniel Jones. They need to see if he's the guy. I wouldn't be shocked if they went Elijah Vera Tucker here because they need help in the interior O-line. But this is a deep O-line class. You can find those guys later. I think this will be Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I agree. If he's there, I do see them taking him, which I absolutely hate because he's going to wreak havoc on my team.
Well, now you're looking at that's a very good receiving core. Darius Slayton. Is it Darius Slayton?
It is Darius Slayton.
Darius Slayton. I'll think. I'm only saying that because of Darius Slay. But
if Darius Slayton is your 3, you have a very, very
Darius Slayton, Jalen Waddle, Kenny Galladay, even Sterling Shepard, right? He's still there.
Yep.
Kyle Fuller. Like that's a good receiving core right there.
And the Ingram, Evan Ingram is a good receiving one as well. Yeah.
So now 12. I'll be with Horn off the board. I think this becomes pretty clear. Eagles are gonna take Devontae Smith. He'd probably still be the pick, even with Horn still on the board. I'm not so sure though.
I don't know that, but I agree. I think if Chase is gone, Rashawn Slater's gone, both of the cornerbacks are gone. How do you not pick them at that point?
This is really the early, maybe 11, but 11, 12 is the earliest I see Devontae Smith coming off the board.
Agreed. I agree. He's not. I don't think he does go top 10 anymore at all. All right, so we're at the Chargers. In my mock draft I made, I actually had J.C. Horn.
Yeah, so did I yesterday, I think.
They really need a lot.
I think they'd love to beef up that O-line, but there's not really one to take here.
That's where I'm at right now, man. Oh my God, dude!
And then the 2 receivers are off the board. This is a very tough spot for the Chargers.
I have no effing idea, bro.
And they took Kenneth Murray last year, so I'm not really sure they could take Parsons. You know, they could, but
you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go Jalen Mayfield.
Shoo! All right.
Yeah.
It's a little early, I think, but
it is a little early.
You know what? Like that's one of those things. If they reach for a tackle, like I'm not gonna be mad. You got to protect.
And that's
Herbert.
exactly what that would be. But I just don't see an easy fit there. No. I don't with Horn gone, with the receivers gone,
and they're not taking Mac Jones either.
No, absolutely not. And then this is a pick I actually really like. I had him going there in my mock draft. The Vikings really need interior O-line help, and I'm going to go Elijah Vera Tucker there.
Okay, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Yeah.
So now we get to 15, and
this is it.
What am I thinking? Yeah, 15, New England Patriots. I had it in my brain Mac Jones was off the board. No, if he's, and I'll be shocked, honestly, if he's still there at 15 when the draft really rolls around. But if he's here, New England's probably going to take him.
I agree. I think that, sort of he has that, like, just, catch and shoot kind of style, and I think that that's perfect for what Josh Daniels does. I think he'll protect his weaknesses. I think Josh Daniels is very good at that. He'll have, a good defense with all the players that they got and Bill Belichick running the defense, and he won't have to score a bunch of points. I like that pick, actually. I think that's right where Mac Jones probably should be.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get overpicked because somebody's going to trade up and get him. I think it's going to be the Patriots, honestly.
Probably.
But him falling to 15 to the Patriots, I think is perfect.
So now we get to 16, and this is where, like, I've had a pretty easy mock so far.
Yeah, I have not.
You have not. This is the first time it kind of gets difficult for me. Kwity Paye is on the board. I wouldn't be shocked if they went Kwity Paye. I don't think they will, though, after signing J.J. Watt. I think they'd love to replace Patrick Peterson, but I could see Farley going here. I could see Newsome, but those are both kind of reaches at 16. And you just took Vera Tucker off the board. Fuck, I don't know. I gotta go to the board here. I've been doing this off the top of my head. I mean, Parsons is still on the board.
They just picked Simmons, though.
I know. This is tricky. I don't have any fucking idea. I'll tell you what. I'll go bold here. If this is the way the board falls, I would not be shocked if this is what they do here. Najee Harris.
Really? I like that pick. I actually have seen that they were looking at running backs.
Mm-hmm. They could use one.
You screwed me up for later in my draft, because I had him going to Pittsburgh.
But I mean, look, they want a corner. The top two are gone. They could use an interior O-line. The top one's gone. Kwity Paye, they could use. I'm not sure they will pick him though after signing J.J. Watt. They don't really need Micah Parsons. They could use a running back, and Najee Harris is sitting there. So a little bold. I don't feel good about it, but hey, it's the way the board fell.
I love the way the board fell for my next two picks. I think the easiest pick so far that hasn't been easy. Obviously the top picks were very easy. Micah Parsons to the Raiders is the easiest pick in the world. That is
if this is the way the board falls, yeah.
That is exactly what they need, is a fast-ass linebacker that can just run around and make plays for them. Micah Parsons is my pick for them, and Kwity Paye is going to the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking another linebacker like Owusu-Koramoah or Zayvon Collins, but yeah, that's better.
I like how that fell.
Really you were due for one of those.
Yeah.
So now we're at 19, Washington football team. This is pretty easy, I think. If after losing Trent Williams, they could really use a left tackle. It's not really a reach. I had him as a top 15 pick for weeks, months, really. And it sounds like that's not going to be the case anymore. He might slide out of the top 15, but Christian Darrisaw, at night, just to Washington feels right.
That's who I had going there in my mock draft as well.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously they're another team that I wouldn't be surprised traded up for Mac Jones, or if Trey Lance slides a little bit.
But we don't do trades in our mock drafts. I don't know why. I don't like doing trades in mock drafts.
It's just like, dude, it's impossible to predict. I mean, it's absolutely impossible. But no, I like that pick. Let me take him off of here. I really do like that pick. I think that fell very well for you as well. And another team that can trade up for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Bears.
I don't. So that's the thing. I'm not sure they will. Kind of like Denver.
Everyone can,
Well, it's not just the coach that has to win. It's also the GM in Chicago that has to win.
I think they're both gone.
After this year, because they didn't fix the quarterback position. Well, they tried to. It didn't really work out. But I don't think they might trade it to take a quarterback. I'd be really surprised if they did, though.
Yeah.
So now we're sitting here at 20. Most of the good linemen are off the board. I think they would love to take Darrisaw or Vera Tucker off the board. I'll go Greg Newsome here. Local kid. After losing Kyle Fuller, they could use a corner.
Good pick. I like that pick a lot. All right.
I debated Rashad Bateman, but I think Fuller's a bigger impact. And they brought back what's his name? Allen Robinson.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I do like that pick. I think Greg Robinson could easily be the pick there.
Newsome.
Greg Newsome. Sorry. All right. So the Indianapolis Colts here.
I'm very curious because I love Chris Ballard.
They are a very tough team to try to figure. I don't know really what they're going to do here. I think that they are a team that has a lot of good players, but they could also do a lot.
They could also use a lot.
That's what I was saying. They're in sort of like a really weird situation. They hardly ever have any like super high end talent. They just always have like a bunch of good players. I am going to go Rashad Bateman here. I think they're going to try to get Carson Wentz some help. Tackle is a need.
Yeah.
If one of these tackle slides, I think that they will ultimately do that. But in how our draft didn't fall that way,
they need a true left tackle, and Ballard rarely reaches.
No, exactly. So he is coming off of my board here, Rashad Bateman. All right, now my next pick is the Tennessee Titans, another team that could just really use a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
I don't like their chances of being a good team this year. I really don't. I think they're going to take a big step back. I think this might be the team though that takes because Adoree Jackson's gone, I think they might take the stab at Caleb Farley. So I'm going to say Caleb Farley.
I like that. They lost, I think, Malcolm Butler and Adoree Jackson.
Yes, they did.
That's a very underrated need for them. I honestly think I want to go back to your Indianapolis pick because I've thought about this for about a week or so now. If he's there, because I feel like Chris Ballard always has a pick where I'm like, how the fuck was that player still there?
Yeah.
And he scooped him up. Like, it was Jonathan Franklin last year, Quentin Nelson a few years before that, and then Malik Hooker, even though he's not with the team anymore, but a few years before that. But the player I had in mind was Jalen Phillips. Like, that would be I think that would be such a Chris Ballard pick.
I could see it. Absolutely. Could easily see it.
And then Tennessee, if it were me, I'd probably take another edge rusher. That was the worst pass rush I've ever seen as a football fan.
Yep.
And signing Bud Dupree doesn't fix that.
No.
But I like your Farley pick. So now we get to 23, the New York Jets. Fuck. I don't really know.
It gets tough down here, man.
I know. This is really when it becomes a crapshoot, I think.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
I don't think it's going to be running back in the first round. I don't think Joe Douglas will do that. I mean, Traylon Morg's still available. I don't think he's the pick, though. They already have two good safeties. They could, I think they'd love a corner. There's not really one to take here.
Nope.
Not really. Oh, yeah, edge rusher. Jalen Phillips. Phillips. Yeah.
That was going to be my pick there. That's exactly who I would have picked as well. I like that pick.
Yeah.
I like that pick.
And then now we get to 24, Pittsburgh. It sounds like they want Najee Harris a lot.
That's who I put there.
But he's off the board.
Yep.
Do they like Travis Etienne enough? I don't know.
No. They're not going to reach for a running back that high.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think they've reached though.
Well, I don't think Etienne's really a reach at this point.
No, I don't either. But you can get a very comparable player in the second, third round.
So this becomes tough. Is Bateman still on the board?
No, I picked him.
That's right. Yeah. I look to the offensive line.
Yeah.
That's I think he's really more of a left or a right tackle. But they need all the O-line help they can get in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Tevin Jenkins here. I mean, it's biggest need for him right here.
Okay.
Quarterbacks are off the board. They could go Etienne. I don't see that happening, though. Receivers are off the board.
I can see that.
Maybe an edge rusher to replace Dupree. But, again, I just took Jalen Phillips. Do they want Ojulari maybe? I can't explain, I can't predict that, but I'll go Tevin Jenkins, yeah.
Okay.
I just don't feel good about it.
I don't hate that pick. I really don't. All right, so we're at the Jaguars again. In my mock draft, I had them taking Greg Rousseau. But
I think he's sliding. I would be very surprised if he goes first round.
That's why I said that's not who I'm going to pick here. I think this is where
Jags have. I've mocked him to 25 for a long time.
I think they do need some secondary help. I think he's the best secondary player available. I think that's a very good pick. I think ideally they would like to get one of those sliding tackles there to pair with Trevor Lawrence, but I'm going to go the safety from TCU.
I mean, they really don't have a ton of needs necessarily.
No.
They have some good pass catchers. They could use a tight end, but you can find one of those later. Or this isn't a great tight end class in general, but I think this is maybe the earliest. Like, I think maybe Christian Barmore could be in play here, or one of the linebackers. But
and you know what? I'm glad you just said that because that's who I'm going with the Browns, Christian Barmore.
Well, it's my pick. Is it not? No, you're right. Yeah.
Christian Barmore is my pick there.
I really don't. Didn't they get rid of Sheldon Richardson?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think he's the best player available at that point,
Yeah.
and it fills the need. So
I don't hate that at all.
yeah.
So now we're at 27.
Yep.
Baltimore. I've heard chatter that they want a receiver.
Yep. Good one is available.
Yeah. That's a good pick. I'm gonna go Kadarius Toney.
Another team who wants probably a tackle that's sliding.
Yeah, I mean, after losing Orlando Brown, they could really use a right tackle. That would be a good spot for Tevin Jenkins, I think. Really good spot. But they got 2 first-round picks. Maybe you take a Cosme or someone at 31. So I'll go to Kadarius Toney. He's really good with the ball in his hands.
Yes, he is.
Put him with Lamar Jackson. I think that would be trouble.
I think they can just hit those nice little short passes. He's a tackle-breaking machine. I actually really, really like that pick. So
28 now, New Orleans Saints. Barmore's off the board. I would mock him there. I really want Barmore in Green Bay, honestly.
Yeah.
They could also use like a number 2 at a lot of positions: receiver, corner, interior D line, maybe a linebacker. Gosh, dude, we said the over on a lot of these linebackers, and we only have one off the board right now. That I think about it.
Yep.
I mean, they could use a linebacker. Do you reach for Samuel? It's not really a reach, but do you take him? I don't feel good about it. I'll go linebacker here. Saints have been pretty good in the last few years of just going best player available. I'll go Zaven Collins, linebacker from Tulsa.
That's exactly what I was going to pick. That was going to be my pick. So good call there. I think that position of need. I think that he's probably right around there on a lot of teams' big boards. I think that's a good pick. All right, we're to your Green Bay Packers.
I'm curious.
So am I, Shane, because I fucking know, man.
Yeah, the board. I don't think the board's gonna fall their way this year. Like last year. They're gonna have to trade up to get someone, I think, if they really like someone.
I think you're not gonna like it, but I think they're gonna go Elijah Moore. If this is the way the board falls. Because there's not I think you'd like a tackle, not there. I think you'd like maybe one of the better corners, not there.
Yeah, like I would really love. It's not that I don't like Asante Samuel Jr. The problem is that I don't think you really want 2 5'10" corners. Jair's great, and I like Samuel, but I don't want 2 5'10" corners in the NFC Championship covering 6'5" Mike Evans and 6'3" Chris Godwin. You know what I mean?
I could not agree more. And with the Bills, I think this is a perfect spot for Greg Rousseau.
Uh-oh.
Because they are a stacked team. He has extremely high upside. Extremely high upside, and I think that's what you do with the 28th through the 32nd pick. You already have a pretty good team, and you go with players you can hit a home run on. And if you end up missing whatever, it's basically a second round pick anyway. So I'm gonna go Rousseau there too.
I'll be very surprised if Rousseau goes in the first round. I really would. I mean, I think it sounds like the tape is there. I know he sat out. I'm pretty sure this past year. He did not test very well. It just seems like probably a round 2, day 2 pick. I'd be very surprised, honestly. But if this were a few months ago, I'd say I love it.
Grasping for straws. So.
Yeah. I mean, we really are at this point. Elijah Moore. I'm still kind of wrapping my brain around that. I don't hate it because he's kind of that gadget player we need.
Yep. I was going to say I think that he's a better all-around receiver prospect, though he might not be as good in the NFL as Rondale Moore. I'm not going to put him up there yet. I don't think he's a first-rounder. I think he's a
Rondale Moore's height might hold him back. Although, he's as Connor Rogers has said, he's compact. Like, he fills. He's big. He's wide. You know,
Yeah.
he can take hits. I think, even though he's been hurt the last 2 years.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Elijah Moore and Greg Rousseau for 29 and 30.
All right, so now we're at 31. I mean, he's sitting there on the board, but I don't know. I mean, the Ravens could use an edge rusher.
Yeah.
And Azeez Ojulari is right there. And I think he's a pretty good fit in Baltimore.
Yeah. And you that's a Baltimore pick.
Yeah, I feel like that's a Baltimore pick. I really want to go like Cosme or, Reduns or someone to replace Orlando Brown. But I think you can find a guy late round 2 who could step in at right tackle.
Ojulari is the pick.
I think it's Ojulari.
I agree.
So now we get to the defending Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay Bucks.
Luxury pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the fuck you do. You don't really need anything.
I'm down to 2 here.
I've always mocked Rondale Moore here because they haven't re-signed Antonio Brown yet, as far as I know, unless I missed something.
No, they haven't.
I think an underrated pick here is maybe like defensive line. Yeah, they got a lot of dudes who are, and even linebacker, they got a lot of dudes on like short contracts, 1 or 2 year deals. So if you wanted to beef up for depth, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But Ojulari's off the board. I don't see another interior defensive lineman coming off the board in the first round, so those positions are out. I could see Jamin Davis. Freak athlete.
Yeah. Okay.
I've heard for weeks this dude's going to be a first round pick.
No, dude, I watched somebody talking about his film, and a lot of people think he's a better linebacker overall than even Michael Parsons. He's just not quite as athletic.
He's just a weird guy. He was only a 1 year starter, athletic freak. I'm always cautious about dudes like that. I mean,
I agree.
Don't base it on their athleticism. Only a 1 year starter, and SEC. Well, it was Kentucky, not exactly the most talented SEC school. You know what I mean? It'd be different if it was Alabama or LSU, but I'll go Jamin Davis here. I don't feel good about it at all.
I was going to say, I was going to go linebacker there too, and he's either going to be him or
that's a sneaky, like I said, a sneaky need for them.
Yep.
So that's the entire first round. Holy shit. So we hang on, let me take a look at this.
And by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if Etienne went to the Bucs.
I wouldn't either, really.
I got the last pick of the first round running back right last year, so that's who I had there in my mock draft.
I want to see this real quick. So we had the over on safety. You had Trayvon Morgan. That's the only safety I really see. I could see maybe Javon Holland sneaking in the first round, but that's about it.
I disagree, but yeah.
We had we said the over for corners. We were at the under. We didn't have Asante Samuel Jr. in the first round, and I think he might sneak in. Defensive line. We did have the over for that, right? We had 4 edge rushers and an interior, I think. Yeah. We had the under for linebackers, which is what we said. However, offensive line, we had Sewell, Slater, Vera Tucker, Mayfield, Darisaw.
And
was there one more?
Yes, I think there was one more.
I don't think so, dude. I think we're at 5.
You said Mayfield.
Yeah,
right?
I said Mayfield.
Okay, that's 5.
So holy shit, we're at 5. If Kansas City didn't get Orlando Brown, that would be one. I think Green Bay's very much in play. No, Tevin Jenkins. 6.
Yes,
we're at 6.
Yes.
So we're right around there. Yeah. And I wouldn't be shocked if Green Bay or Baltimore took.
There's a lot of those later in the rounds needed a tackle to slide. So if one of those reached, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Tight end, we took the under, and we were at the under. Receiver, we took the over, we were at the over. Running back, quarterback, yeah. So we did about what we thought. Well, all right, my man. So you are having your own get-together on draft night, so you will not be attending my live show.
I'm sorry. I will. I'm going to call in, though. I'm going to call in.
You're going to call in? That would be That would be funny. So when I was trying to think of guys, because I asked a buddy of mine from grad school if he wanted to join, and he kind of has left me in the dark for weeks, and he finally got back to me and was like, "Hey man, I can't do it, whatever." And I said, "All right, whatever."
What about your buddy who talks baseball with you?
I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, "Oh, you know who I'll ask? I'll ask Armand." because we had that disappearing podcast that we did with him for the Carson Wentz trade. That was a great podcast with all three of us, and then my computer turned off by a fluke accident. Didn't save it, and I was like, you know what? I'll do Armand. I'll make it up to him, And then he turned me down. He had something going on, and I was like, well, shit. I don't know who I'm gonna get. And sure, I landed on my baseball friend Steven again.
There you go.
He did it with me last year, and I was like, dude, I need your help again this year. And I said, I'm not asking my friend William, who's the Giants friend, to do it. And he said, I understand. I'm in. And I was like, I don't want to do this by myself. He's a good color comment. I had a ball with him last year.
And like I said, I'll call in while I'm hammered.
I don't know what I'm gonna do because he's got twins due.
No shit.
In August or something like that. Yeah. So once those twins arrive, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He's like my safety net for podcasting. I just reach out to Steven.
You're gonna have to get Snotty on the pod.
Fuck. I would rather burn this podcast to the ground than bring back William Snotty.
That's good. That's good air.
I know, but he's just so annoying. So when I made this venture from Pennsylvania, technically, to Texas, I stopped in Hoover, Alabama, my hometown, when I was driving through, and I saw a good friend of mine from high school. And William lives in Hoover, and he said, like, what the fuck, dude, you're in Hoover? I was like, you've been pissing me off lately. I didn't want to see you. Speak of the fucking devil, he just texted me.
Well, tell him I said I hope the Giants.
Oh, I know what I meant to ask you. So a few weeks ago, we were talking draft stuff, and I had one more thing to ask you. I finally remembered what it was. He wanted to get your opinion on the rumor that the Eagles wanted a quarterback.
Oh my god.
It ain't gonna happen at this point. That was 3 weeks ago or something.
Dude, you can just never count it out for these bastards, though. You just can't, dude. Like, you really can't. Dude, I don't know. My opinion is please don't, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I really wouldn't, unfortunately. The Eagles disappoint me on draft night almost every year. Almost every year.
Hey, there's hope they won't this year. Hey, I've had my fair share of disappointments. I feel like every single draft with Green Bay, there's always someone I want that they never get, and then they end up picking a guy who I hate at first, and then I talk myself into it.
Well, you always talk yourself into the, like, that's just part of being a sports fan.
I remember when they took Kenny Clark. Miles Jack was still on the board. I wanted Miles Jack. There were some other dudes that I wanted, and they took Kenny Clark. I was like, who the fuck is Kenny Clark? Kenny Clark's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league right now.
I said Miles Jack isn't great, too.
And yeah, Miles Jack is good, too.
I remember I wanted the Eagles in 2017 to take the linebacker. What the hell's his name? And he ended up beating the shit out of his girlfriend. Like,
Reuben Foster. Dude, you and the entire Eagles fan base were, because that draft was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We were there. Everyone was like cheering for Reuben Foster, and then they came out with Derek Barnett. And you were the only one in the entire crowd that was like, I don't mind that.
And then he ended up he's an average player.
He's all right, yeah.
First rounder. He's a guy, so. Like I said, they disappoint me. But yeah, I mean, 12 is better than where they're usually picking. They're usually somewhere in the 20s. And
yeah, I gotta wait all fucking night.
So we'll see.
And if it's another instance like the draft we were at, where we're waiting, we didn't. Granted, that draft. Have I ever told you this story? What? So, I've never told you what was going through my mind. So when we were at that draft in Philly had what, like the 14th pick or something?
Yeah, 15th, I think.
Something like that. And they took, not Reuben Foster, Derek Barnett. After that pick, you and I forget who your other Eagles buddy was that was with us, were like, we're getting the fuck out of here. And I was livid. The entire walk to the subway, or SEPTA, whatever they call it, to New Jersey, where we parked.
That was the worst night of my life, bro. I had to drive.
Yeah.
We had to walk through all those people, back to the SEPTA, back to Jersey, get my car. Then I had to drive back to Baltimore, but I couldn't even just drive to Baltimore. I had to drive to the airport.
Yeah, you had to drop me off at the airport.
It was like 3 in the morning. Oh my
So the entire walk back, we're walking through downtown Philadelphia to the SEPTA. I'm livid at you the entire walk over there, and we get in the subway, and I forget, I don't remember his name. The other friend that was with us was also a Packers fan, and he gets the update. Oh, Green Bay traded back. I was like, oh, thank God.
And you guys could have got T.J. Watt.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
That's who they picked. The Steelers traded.
They
up.
did. Well, it was Cleveland who traded up for that pick. Watt was picked a few picks later. I think.
Oh, never mind. I'm tripping. Never mind.
But something like that. Yeah, we could have. If I have to hear another Packers fan say that, I'm gonna lose my mind. But I just remember I was so mad at you that walk back, and then I was like, well, I feel like an ass now.
That was the worst. Like that was the best and worst day of my life. Like that.
Well, I was the only one sober. You and your buddies were drinking all day.
Oh my God, dude.
I can remember you chugging Bud Lights.
I was hammered.
You had to drive us back.
Jesus Christ, man.
That was miserable. That night I only got like 1 hour of sleep because I slept at the airport.
I didn't get any.
Did you go into work? You didn't go into work the next day though.
I don't think I did.
I know I didn't. I had to fly back.
I hope not.
I remember getting home in Nashville and just crashing. I slept for like 6 hours.
Dude. Well, I want to go to a draft again soon, so.
Well, this year, if I was still living in Pennsylvania, I'd strongly consider going to this draft in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors Green Bay is trying to get the 2022 draft.
I just don't know if they're going to do that.
I'd love to see it, but I've lived in that area. I don't know if they could host it. There's not a lot of hotels.
It's just so.
Unless, it could have changed since I've lived there.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of hotel options.
It's just so far from everything else too. I mean, you're just not getting people up there. Obviously, it's great for Green Bay fans. I mean, it's one of the best franchises in the NFL.
And that's why I think they'd probably do it. But it might be one of those where they get there like, we're never doing this again.
Yeah.
Like, there's not enough hotels. You know, sure, there's a lot of beer and cheese, but.
Jeez. God, that sounds great. I'm about to go eat some
cheese. If it is in Green Bay, I really want to go to Green Bay.
Oh, 100%. You got to. That's why I went in Philly. You have to. But,
all right, my man. I'll let you go.
Later. Send me that mock draft. I want to see what it looked the final.
My final one that's separate to this. Okay.
Well, that one too, obviously. But all right. Bro.
I could probably still remember the picks.
All right, cool. Later, man.
Later.